Hey guys, hello and welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a pregame lobby. We're going to start off with a pretty basic lobby that's just kind of generic, and then we'll make another one that's a little bit more complex. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to do is you can do it one of two ways. You can either build your own with the actual building tools and make a pretty basic one that way, or how I like to do it, if you know what you're going to do. We'll start off this way though. It's pretty basic. You can just build one real quick, it's no big deal. So you got a little floor, and then you can build some walls. Like I said, this one's going to be pretty generic just to give you the basic idea of what devices you'll need and all that good stuff. Okay, so I got this little itty bitty area here, and this is going to be my pregame lobby to start. So the first thing you're going to need obviously is spawn pads. So we're going to go in here, it's under your content devices, and you can just search for spawn pads right there. So then you decide on how many players you want. So I'm just going to do, let's just do like 4 players. Okay, so now I have my area built. I got my 4 spawn pads. We'll do 2 on each team. So you can come in here under the settings of it, click on this one, make sure that they're always enabled, and then you'll pick your 2 teams and use as island start, make sure that is on, and then visible in game. If you don't want the base visible, go ahead and turn that off. And then you just do that to all 4. And a quicker, easier way that I think to do it is if you just drop 1, you can click on it and copy them. So you don't have to go in and change all the settings every single time. I will change these 2 to the other team. Just like that. So now I have this set up to where team 1 will spawn here, team 2 will spawn here, and you do the same thing for if you're having more teams. Or you can do like a free-for-all, and then you wouldn't set these to a specific team at all. They would just be whoever. I would have 1 set to team 1, and then the rest of them, how many ever players you have, just leave them blank. So you would just leave the team spot to any, if you want to do something like that. But for now, this is how I'm going to have it set up. Another thing, if you want to use this kind of like a building to keep them in instead of a barrier device, you'll have to obviously enclose your building for 1 so they can't get out, and then make all your walls indestructible. So then to do that, you'll just go into your main island settings here, and I believe it's under, not user interface, maybe world. No, I think it's under player actually. Build mode maybe. I'm not seeing it here. Inventory. I didn't know why it'd be there. Oh, here we go. It's under equipment. So player, equipment, and you can turn that off for 1 so that the pickaxe in their pregame lobby won't hurt other players. And then go down here to environment damage, turn to off. Or if you want building, you can do player built only, so they can't damage your stuff, but they can damage the stuff that they make. And then you can enable fire, like if they set the building on fire, it won't damage it. So with that set up, you now have this building that can't be destroyed. So that is kind of like a basic way to build a little pregame lobby. This is just the lobby area. There's nothing special. They'll spawn in here and then nothing happens. So if you want to continue through this, what you're going to do is you're going to need another device. a couple of them actually. So the first thing we're going to look for is a timer device. And also a couple different things you can do. A teleporter, if you want it to be that way. So you'll set up a timer device somewhere over here. And this is going to be your pregame timer. I do highly encourage that you name all of these, because if you don't, it'll be hard to find them later. So I'm going to name this the pregame timer, and then you can have it set to however long you want the time between the time to start. I'll set it for 10 seconds. So this is going to set out somewhere outside of their area. You don't want them to see that particular thing. You'll have the countdown in the HUD. And we'll go over that in just a minute. But for generic purposes, we're going to drop this little teleporter device, and it's going to kind of exist there. And this, if you want it to set up like this building is going to be where they spawn in. The teleporter device I'm going to set to make it not appear until that timer counts down, and then all the players can choose to walk through it. And that will be at their discretion. If you want all players to teleport upon the pregame timer counting down, you'll have to do it a different way. And that's not hard to do either. But for now, we'll go ahead and set this one up right here. We're going to call this the pregame teleporter. And then the teleporter group itself doesn't matter, but the target group does for this particular thing. So enable during game phase, we're going to have it set to none, and selected team all. So it doesn't matter who they are, they'll spawn through this particular one. Okay, and then the rest of it, I think, determines how often the teleporter session. That's kind of cool. That looks like a thing if you have multiple teams and you don't want them to spawn in the same spot, like so they can't spawn camp the teleporter that they come out of. You can change the destination, and then you will just put a different teleporter wherever they're going, with two different teleporters or three or how many ever with the same group. And I'll go over that in a little bit. Okay. Okay, no, I don't want that. And then the teleporter rift visible, yes. Play visual effects, yeah, that's fine. And then all the rest of it is like when they walk through it, do they conserve their minimum momentum, or do they face in the teleport direction? Any of that, you can have that set however you decide. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is come over here to this timer device, and on the output section here, on success, we're going to send an event to that teleporter I just made, and then enable it. So when they spawn in, they'll sit around for 10 seconds, and then this teleporter device will show up, and then they can walk through it. There's no place for them to go because I haven't set that up yet, but they could be able to walk through it and nothing happens for now. So I can go ahead and I'll just kind of set a generic little thing here. And this one, I want to make sure it is set to target group. This is going to be teleporter group A. The target group, if you don't want them to go anywhere from here, it doesn't matter what this is set to. And you can even set it to none if you choose, so they can't go back. Enable during phase all. That's fine. You can have it set. Any team, doesn't matter. Link to target, no. Teleporter rift visible. I'm going to turn that off. And the rest of it is fine. Okay. So, in theory, I'll spawn in. Timer will count down. And then after that 10-second countdown, that rift should be visible. And I do have it set to where they can't break out, but if you have it low enough, they'll still be able to mantle out of it. So, okay. And 10 seconds is a long time to wait. If you're just sitting around. I feel like that was 10 seconds. Okay. I must have missed something. Let's go back. Oh, it just showed up right as okay. There we go. I'm going to go find this. Come in here. One thing I do want to make sure that I do start. Oh, that's why start at game start was off. Make sure that's on. Okay, applies to everyone. Completion behavior. Reset. That's important to make sure that that's reset. Visible during game. That's fine. Okay, right here where it says timer running text. If it'll let me click it. I don't know why it's not. Hang on, try it again. There we go. And then we'll put game starts in, and then leave it like that. So that way I say game starts in, the timer will be right next to it. Now, with those adjustments, let's try it again. Okay. So it says game starts in, and then that timer will count down. And then at the end of the timer, the teleporter device shows up. I could walk through it. It teleports me here where I had the other teleporter device. So that all works great. Okay. So that is how to make a pregame lobby like that, which is pretty cut and dry, very, very basic, and you can have it set up however you want, but that works like that. Okay, so the next way you can do it, if you want to teleport all of your players at once, you can do it a couple different ways. The easiest way I found actually is to use a mutator zone. So if you come in here and get the mutator zone, instead of using this teleporter, go ahead and delete that. I don't need that anymore. Go ahead and drop this little guy here. Come in here and we're going to edit it. Enable on phase, it's going to be set to none. That's important that it's not on at game start, because otherwise your players will teleport immediately. So in this one, on the zone width, depth, and height, you're just going to make sure that it completely covers your pregame lobby completely. So let's go 5 wide, 5 deep, and we'll make it 3 tall. And those are in like squares. Any player, actually, is there an all? No, okay. And then you can, mutator zones are very, very useful. They have lots and lots of uses. The main time you would use it is to have one enabled all the time, to where you can have, like, so they can't shoot each other or something on the inside. So, but for now, we're going to set it to just use it for the teleporting. Okay. So now we're going to go into the input function and go into enable when receiving from that pregame timer we made just a minute ago, and then on success. Okay. So that is definitely covering all of my area. You want to make sure that it completely covers, or encases your pregame lobby. Even if there's like a small corner where it's not there, and some player could be standing right in that little corner and not get teleported. So just make sure it completely covers everywhere that a player could possibly be while waiting for the timer to count down. Okay, so now that we got that set up, I'm going to go back over to this teleporter device that I made just a minute ago, and we're going to make some changes to it. So none of this matters anymore for this particular thing. So it doesn't matter what group it is, doesn't matter what the target group is, none of that matters. So now we're going to make sure it is always enabled. Selected team is all for this particular instance. This is if you want to change, depending on what team you can have two teleported devices. You can have one for team 1, one for team 2, so that way when they get teleported, team 1 will go here, team 2 will go to the other one, however you want it set. So for now, for this purpose, it's going to be set to all. And then the left visible, no. None of that matters. Okay, but the main thing I want to change is teleport when receiving from. And we're going to go to that mutator zone that I made. And then on player entering it. And so what that does is, since the timer counts down, this mutator zone doesn't technically exist. So whenever the timer counts down and turns the mutator zone on, all players that are standing here technically enter it. So all players will be teleported to that rift that I just made. So we're going to try that out and make sure it works. Okay, so the game starts in, my timer's counting down. It doesn't matter where I'm at inside here. And what did I make a mistake on? There's something I missed. Oh, that. Okay. Wait, no, that shouldn't be matter. No. I missed something somewhere. I want to figure out what it is. On player entering zone, send an event to the teleporter. I want to make sure that teleporter is enabled because it may not be. Well, it's set to on. Make the target or visible, no. Teleport and receiving from player entering. Okay. It's covering it. I guess I could. Oops. Just lower it just a little bit. I didn't lower it. Still didn't lower it. Okay. Only thing I can think of right now. Okay. Let's try it again. Try and rule out something here real quick. 3, 2, 1. Oh, there is definitely something fishy here. Okay. Let's see what it is. Enable on phase 9. Zone visible. All that. It's fine. Affects players, affects creatures. Yeah, everything is. One player in his own teleporter, teleport. Maybe it's in the teleporter. Okay, so I figured it out. For some reason, the timer device I had over here was set to not start on game start. I don't know why it was counting down, but it wasn't. I don't know. This thing has weird glitches like that all the time. So I had to go in there and set it to start game, or start on game start. And now for some reason the game starts and text is kind of working, but not. I don't know. This game glitches out weird. It works now. So when that counts down, everything inside the mutator zone teleports. So that is working as it should. Okay, so now we have that set up. The timer device will turn on the mutator zone. The mutator zone, anybody that's inside it when it turns on will teleport over there. So that is how to make a very, very basic pre-game lobby. If you want to get a little more complicated, we'll go ahead and do that next. Okay, so I went ahead and deleted the other thing so it's not in the way. And what I like to do to make things look a little bit better visually is you can do it a couple different ways. You can come in here, and if you go into like prefabs, you can pick something that you like for a pregame lobby, any kind of building or whatever. You can go into galleries and all this good stuff. Prefabs is great because it lets you drop an entire house. You can just drop that here. Make sure my drops are on, otherwise this is going to get really annoying. So now I have this little building. And you can use this building as your pregame lobby. And you can use any building. I do recommend a couple things. It's like completely secured, like the walls and everything. It's not open, otherwise players can just walk out. So you can have them spawn in here, and you'll set up your spawn pads in here, upstairs, wherever you want. So we'll go ahead and do that. Spawn pads. Let's set a spawn pad here, a spawn pad there, actually. Go ahead and custom one. Player spawner's fine. Team 1 uses island start. Make sure that's on again. Visible in game off. Play audio. No. The rest of it shouldn't matter. Okay. So then I can just copy paste these. Here. And I'll set these two to team 2. Okay. So with that set up, now this little house is going to be my pregame lobby. Yeah, looks nice. I got like an upstairs. Looks all good. Okay. Now if you look at the window, you can obviously see the grid. We can fix that pretty easily. The best way I found to do that is to come in here and set up a barrier device. Let's see, devices, there we go. Barrier device, excellent. So I'm going to drop, I think it's on the bottom, so we're going to set this all the way down. We'll come in here and enabled on phase. I'll have it always turned on. You can make it look like whatever you want, but very important though, that where it says zone shape, make sure it is set to hollow box. If you do not set this, they cannot spawn into it. If it's set to just a regular box or a cylinder, they can't use it. They'll spawn from the sky, and you don't want that. So make sure it is set to hollow box. Okay. Barrier depth, I'm going to set this to like, I don't know how big it is. I'll do a 5. Barrier width, 5. And then barrier height, I'll do like 4 maybe. Come on. And make sure that it covers the building completely. And it does. Awesome. Okay. So come in here, and this is where you get to decide what you want it to look like. Make it look like stone, stud plates. I usually do like skies or something if you want it to look cool. But it doesn't matter what you pick, because as soon as you hit enter, it looks like this. So when they're in there, and they look outside, now all I see is that. And the floor is like that too, apparently, because it is on the ground. Okay. Yeah, looks good. I need to actually, no, I don't want that. I want to move it down. Didn't work. Okay. Okay, it's not gonna let me move it down, I don't think. Is it? Yeah, it did. Okay, cool. Yeah, you don't want it like on the ground, because if you do, like, unless you want them to see it on the floor, it's totally fine. But now, move it just a little bit lower, so that way they can still see the floor. And now it only looks like that when they look outside. Cool. So now you have this little box that they can spawn into. And as always, make sure that your building is indestructible by going into, it's under the island settings player, and then it's under equipment apparently. And then you can find start with pickaxe. You can customize this however you want, but just make sure that if you don't want them to destroy it, that the environment damage is set to off. Or if you have build, make sure that it's set to player built only. That way, can't destroy your stuff, but they can destroy their own if they want. Okay. So now we have this little thing set up as my pregame lobby. So whenever a player comes in, they'll spawn inside here. Yeah, perfect. I don't have any timers, devices, or anything set up right now, but it'd let me spawn in here. I can't destroy this. However, I can still open doors. So if you want to change that, you can do a lock device to lock the doors until you can lock it until a timer counts down if you want that. If you want them to be able to go outside, or you can just remove that and make it a wall only with no doors so they can't escape, however you want to do it. But then we can go right back to the same thing with the mutator zone to teleport everybody out of here, or you can have a teleporter device somewhere in here for them to walk through, however you want to do that. But then you can also go in here and you can decorate it with your billboards and all that good stuff. So if you come in here, I think it's devices. Is it called a billboard? It is. Cool. So you can set up a little billboard thing. And then you can have it say whatever you want. Welcome. You can show the border. One-sided. However, you can do a lot of good stuff with this too. You can change the size of the text. You can see it from infinite view. Enabled always, and change a couple different text styles or whatever. And all that good stuff. So now it just says welcome. And I put it in the wall. Cool. There. And that's how you can explain the rules. Welcome to the prop hunt, blah blah blah. So those are pretty common in pregame lobbies, the billboards. Another thing you can add, if you have more than one island, if I can remember how to do this, remember where it's at anyway. Remember what it's called. You can have a video player set up, playing like a video loop. But there is one particular device, and I don't remember what it's called. So I'll have to scroll and find it, which is fun. Save points, cool. Ah, the matchmaking device. You can set one of these up. Just make sure that players can actually reach it. If you set it up too high, they won't be able to get to it. And then you come in here, and then this is like if you have multiple islands or you have a buddy that has their own islands that they've made, you can come in here and put the island code for that island, and they can come up and matchmake into it separately. So that's pretty cool to do. I don't remember what my other island codes are, but that's pretty fun to do. You can have a couple of those set up so that they can walk in here. This is also pretty common in a pregame lobby. Okay, so we got a pretty basic pregame lobby thing here. This looks a little bit nicer than the last one because it's prefab, but you can take all the time you want building your own, customizing it however you want. Okay. So that pregame lobby exists there, and that's the same kind of setup. It's just a little bit more pretty, I guess. Another thing you can do is if you want it in the sky, you can come in here, go into prefabs, and you can either find one that floats, which there are some that float, like this one. I did not want that. Okay. So I can drop this one here. Just make sure your drop is not on, because if it is, it'll fall to the ground. Oops, and I planted too. That's fine. Because now, what happens if I leave that? Will the whole thing collapse? No. Okay. So now you have one in the sky. And you can do the same kind of setup. Place your spawn pads, your billboards, and all your matchmaking stuff, however you want to customize it. But in order for it to not be seen, you'll have to do the barrier device and make it and fully encapsulate the whole area of your spawn and set it to whatever you don't want them to see. So, and that's pretty simple. You just go back into your barrier device here and set it down here. Customize the size of it to make it very big to cover the whole thing. Let's do like, I don't know, 20, not one. For real. There we go. 20 by 20 by like 10. Let's see if that covers the whole thing. Almost. For the most part. That's fine. Okay. And then you can come in here and just pick however you want to look. So that way when they're inside it, they see dreamy sky. Oh, right. Where does that thing go? I set it to a regular box and not a hollow box. That is important. There we go. So that way when they're inside it, they see this. And when they're outside it, they see that. Okay. And if you want to make it to where they can't see this from the bottom, you'll have to set up a regular box barrier device that covers it from the bottom to where they can't see it. And it's just going to be skinny, just enough to hide it. Or if you want to do something else, you can set this to where they see that, and then the gameplay area you set as a separate barrier device somewhere off there that when they teleport into it, they can't see out of it. So you have different options. But that is how to make a pregame lobby pretty easy. And you can be as creative or as basic as you want. The more creative you get, obviously, the better it looks and all cool stuff. So I do like this one. One's floating in the sky. It's got lots of cool stuff for you to do while you're waiting around for the game to start. So, yeah, just make sure that you do kind of cover up some of this stuff, because obviously a player can fall right down into it. So if you have something floating like that, just make sure they can't access it, or however you decide to do it. You can block it off with barrier devices, or I mean, your options are pretty much limitless on how you decide to keep them in here while you're waiting for the timer to count down. But other than that, that is how to set up a pregame lobby. Make sure you stay tuned for more. I'm going to cover a little bit more Fortnite stuff in creative mode especially, because I do like doing this. And next one, I don't know what I'm going to cover next, but we can cover more devices. With the new update, there was some new stuff. So I'm going to kind of mess around with some of that and see if I can't find some cool stuff to do. But thanks y'all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.